Hello to everybody that watches this crap. Maybe it's only people that I send the link to, obviously, but if you found this on your own, let me know in the comments. Maybe one day this will happen, right? For now, this is just for fun. It's a way for me to speak my mind about some things that I find somewhat interesting, and it's also an opportunity for you to listen to what I have to say for some reason. And for those who listened to the podcast before, I've had mixed critics. Of course, the sound is still pretty bad because my microphone is not the best, and the content could be better. I still struggle whenever I'm talking like this, improvising, talking about random stuff. It's not very good. But for those who have watched the first two episodes, and if you're listening, not watch, but if you're listening to this one as well, welcome again, yet again. I'm your host, and you're listening to my 2 cents. All right, so here we talk about actually so far we've talked about relationships, and we slightly talk about Cyberpunk 2077 in the beginning of the second episode, which is game related. But I also like to talk about books and politics. I'm not sure if this is exactly talking about politics. I just like to share with you the situation here in Brazil. For those who don't know, if you're not Brazilian, maybe you don't know, and if you are and you don't live under a rock, you know that we are going through one of the worst, actually the worst, if we're talking numbers, phase of the pandemic. We are setting new records left and right, both in number, both when you're talking about the numbers of infected people, and when we're talking about the death tolls. Like we had not that long ago, actually 2 weeks ago. No, come on, not even 2 weeks. 5 days ago. 5 days ago, we set a new record for daily deaths, which was 3,950 people who died of COVID, who were reportedly dead from COVID. Because as you guys probably know, not all deaths, just like not all cases, are reported. There's a lot of mistakes back and forth. We have deaths that are not from COVID being reported as COVID deaths, and we have a lot of deaths that were from COVID and were not reported as such. So obviously, there is just estimative of how many people were actually dead from the disease, but I don't know how accurate it is. We have mixed opinions about it. But if nothing else, the numbers going their all-time high. I don't know if you guys, again, if you're Brazilian, probably know, but the all-time high we had before that was in July 29th of last year. We had 1,554 deaths, and we only came close to that between January and February this year. But then, specifically by the end of February until now, things have been getting worse. And I don't know if they are going to get any better anytime soon. I actually don't know. We are having a huge lockdown here in the Santos Bay area, in the whole state of São Paulo, actually, and other places of Brazil as well, because we are trying to free our emergency rooms, right? Like, that's the whole issue. We had some people that got vaccinated, and that's great. We had a lot of misinformation being thrown around. Jesus Christ, so many disinformation. If you keep yourself posted from different sources, you have to discern precisely what information is good and what isn't, all right? Because it's really easy to get confused. It's really easy to get the informations wrong. And I see that with a lot of my friends, and it's difficult for me to tell them that because I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an infectologist. I don't even know if I said this word correctly, So obviously, I have no credibility with my friends whenever I'm talking about that, especially those that don't agree with me. Obviously, those that do agree with me are easier to talk to about this stuff because then we are essentially just complaining. But anyway, we are facing a very difficult time right now, and we are deeply polarized. We have the extreme left and the extreme right going against each other, and not calling themselves extremists. The people get offended if you call them extremists, but we have stupidity on both sides. We have smart people on both sides, and we have some people that are very capable and very stupid as well in the middle. So it's certainly difficult to talk about these issues. There is a phenomenon that's talked about, Le Monde Diplomatique. It's called the fire hose of information, and apparently it has been used by figures such as Putin and Trump, and apparently is used by Bolsonaro as well. Whereas he gives you tons and tons and tons of information and different declarations daily, even depending on how enthusiastic he's being, and a lot of this information isn't true. But for those who believe in him, this information becomes a problem because then we have this huge wave, and since they keep coming, huge waves of misinformation that just makes it so ever so difficult to explain people the correct state of Brazil. We also cannot go to the other end of the of the stadium and just say, okay, Bolsonaro is to blame for everything. He's to blame about a lot of things, but saying that he's to blame about everything is just naive. It's just a way for you to vent out your frustration. But yeah, he's not helping. I think he's doing more harm than good. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe if you're listening to this and you don't agree, you think I'm an idiot. Or maybe if you agree but you think I'm being too soft on him, you also think I'm an idiot. And both sides are correct. I am quite of an idiot. However, I do think that whenever we base our judgment too much on one person, we are giving that person too much power. And that goes obviously for the president of a company of a government, the mayor of a city, the president of a neighborhood committee. It doesn't really matter. If you put too much focus, too much emphasis, and too much importance to a person, you automatically give that person too much power. And I think that's not a good strategy, especially when dealing with this. I'm an avid reader and listener to I'm an avid listener of Naomi Oreskes. Whenever she gives, I don't know, a public speak, or she goes on TED Talk, or maybe I read two of her books. I should read all of them, but I haven't yet. And I've read her interviews. And there is this interesting interview that I believe it was to the New York Times. I'm not sure. I should have checked it before recording this. But anyway, in this interview, she talks about implicatory denial and how people just deal with things when the problem is pretty close to you. It's up close. It's up close in your face, and then you pay attention. On if not on your face, you usually just choose to ignore it because obviously ignoring the problem is much easier than dealing with it. And she talks a lot about this implicatory denial on environmentalists, anti-environmentalists, sorry, people that simply believe that global warming isn't true, or at the very least it isn't true the way it's latched onto us, and people who believe that we just shouldn't care about the environment. She says that these people have an easy time doing so because these problems are somewhat different. Hell, if you are sneezing in the morning, you don't go directly to the hospital, right? You wait for things to get to shit, especially if you are male, because usually us men tend to do that more often. It's of course not a rule, but it's just generally what happens. And we don't go straight to the doctor. We wait for things to get a lot worse. And I think this is the way of politics as well. People, a lot of people right now are seeing, people that didn't before, that's what I mean, are seeing what this government is all about. And I think more and more people are understanding the bad repercussions and the predicaments governments such as this could inflict. If you have a president that doesn't take the disease seriously, or it is apparently he is taking it seriously right now, because how couldn't you? You know, uh, we're up and about dealing with the pandemic for over a year now, and just for his last declaration, which I think it was like a week ago or something, just then he admitted that it is an actual problem, just then. And then he goes on to say that he has been investing in vaccines and yada yada yada. And of course, if not everything, most of it is just bullshit. But again, of course, people believe in it, you know? And again, it's just difficult to tell people otherwise. It's difficult. That's what it is. I have a lot of friends that believe in him and a lot of friends who don't. And I don't know. I think I listen to a lot of crap on both sides. If I'm talking to someone on the left, they usually talk shit. If I'm talking to someone that is from far right beliefs, they also talk a lot of garbage. I had discussions and arguments with my friends about it, but I like talking about this stuff. I really do. And if you don't agree with any of the crap that I'm saying, please say so. I mean, this is the only way that we can actually have a conversation, is precisely if we don't agree with one another. Because if we do agree, then we're just massaging each other's balls. That's it. We're not really going anywhere. Now, if I'm talking to someone that do not agree with me, to me that's honestly better. If that someone does not agree with me, that's better. But anyway, let me tell you guys something. I did twice on both my previous episodes, just reading and commenting on the Reddit's relationship advice segment. Now, this is a segment that is really dear to me because I have a lot of fun. For those who don't know or don't remember, or if you don't care, just pretend you're not listening to this. I like to read about psychology, and I've been doing so for the past 10 to 11 years. Obviously, that does not make me an expert, but it is a subject that interests me. Not only I studied about psychology, I also did therapy for the majority of my life, even when I was a kid. And the reason to that, to both those things, is that my mother is a counselor, right? She treats people. Well, actually, she has different specializations. She managed to study a lot of different areas, and she's pretty good, as I can see. Especially nowadays, she has a lot of patience, and I learned a lot from her. I learned a lot, and it's quite interesting because precisely because we are interesting, right? Whenever I go to a bar or whenever I'm watching a live show or a concert or a football game, a soccer game, a rugby game, whatever it is, I think we're always seeing interactions, sorry, and from that, from sports to relationship advice, from politics to philosophy, I think there's a lot of things that interest me. Maybe everything. I don't think I ever read, like, there's some authors, especially Brazilian authors, that I don't like. When I say especially, is because, I mean, obviously, because I'm a Brazilian, most of the books I read are from Brazilian authors. And I don't know, even when I'm reading something that pisses me off of how stupid it is, I'm not gonna say any names, but if you paid attention on where I stand, you probably have some idea of who I'm talking about or of who I could be talking about. But even when I'm reading some shitty literature or some shitty comments or whatever it is, if even if I know it's bad, I still enjoy myself because we can always learn something. Um, of course, I don't think like this since forever. This is new. I guess I matured to think this way, and obviously, I still don't think this way all the time. But I see a big importance in learning from experience with whatever it is. So, again, I used to read relationship advice and go through the stories that people posting here. And this subreddit was off the air for 2 weeks, I think. And that was the main reason that I didn't post anything in this podcast because I mean, at least at first, I want to do something that I enjoy. I don't want to keep talking about books because that's it's more private. I think that when I talk about the books that I read and when I talk about authors that I like, I giving in too much of myself, and I want to give my opinion about others, at least in this beginning. But for those who don't know, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the other podcasts, and I don't even know if you listening to this listened to the other podcast episodes. My favorite book, probably of all time, is Madame Bovary from Gustave Flaubert, and I really love this book for several different reasons. Maybe I could dedicate a whole episode to talk about Madame Bovary. I think I would have a good time if I did that. I don't know if you guys would. But yeah, Madame Bovary is certainly one of my favorite books of all time. And it's funny because I just realized that in this shitty cartoon that I drew, sorry, you have every Friday on the lower right corner. And of course, it's not every Friday. I'm just recording this whenever I can. I'm an English teacher and I work a lot every week, somewhere between 45 and 60 hours of direct work and indirect work, indirect work like any teacher does, where I need to prepare the classes and correct activities and tests and make the tests. And yeah, that takes a lot of time. So between direct and indirect work, I usually have 60 hours of work per week. And you have absolutely no reason to care for that, but I'm just saying, I'm just gonna record this, especially in this beginning that I have like 3 people listening to this, and they're probably not, you guys are probably not even listening to the whole thing. I'm sorry, but I have to prioritize things that give me money. Anyway, so let's go. There is a post that from the last few hours, it is the most voted, the one that has the most upvotes. 10 hours ago, a person posted, my boyfriend is a pedo. Pedo? Pedo? Well, okay, so to whoever that doesn't know what a pedo is, pedophile, you know? Oh, you obviously know what a pedophile is, even if you never heard this word before. And obviously, right now I'm talking to those that have English as your second language. Pedophile is a guy who likes children, or a woman that likes children, because we have several women pedophiles as well. But for some reason, I always only hear about the men. I never hear about the woman. I don't know why that is. But that's not the discussion. Let's go through the text, okay? So, let's go. My boyfriend is a pedo. A little context. We were together for 3 years and then we got raided by the child abuse squad because of illegal images downloaded on our IP address. We are just normal people, and him being a pedophile was outside of my realms of possibilities. He gaslighted me for a year, telling me he had only looked at one image and it was a mistake. I stupidly believed him, paid for his defense lawyer, and stuck by him. After I discovered he was lying and lying, I forced him to send me the completely misread. I forced him to send me the statement of material facts. He had done horrible things, and I was shocked I had completely misread the whole situation. And not only that, I had supported the type of people I despise the most in this world. The worst part was that I had come from a home of abuse, and my partner Knew that when we started dating. Okay, the worst part is that she has come from a place of abuse, and her partner knew about that when they started dating. I was very upfront about it. I feel so stupid and naive, but most importantly, I feel like I can never trust anyone ever again. How could I not have seen the signs? Okay, let me just make a comment here. I'm not saying a pedophile is a psychopath. I actually have no idea if that's the case, but I don't think it is. Well, some cases psychopaths are pedophiles, but I don't think every pedophile is a psychopath. Anyway, not even talking about psychopaths. Let's talk about narcissistic people and sociopaths. Okay, also the scum of the earth, people who are not worth anything. And I thought I was a narcissist for a long time before somebody proved me wrong. But I have some grounds to say about this, obviously not academic, but of my personal experiences, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. So, if you're dating a person that is any of the things that I mentioned, or even a pedophile like this poor woman has has been through, she has been through, sorry, being in a relationship with a pedophile. Um, if your spouse is hiding something from you that they don't want you to find out, you're not going to find it out unless you're dating a retard. If the person wants to hide stuff from you, they will succeed. Okay? Hell, when you were a teenager, didn't you hide stuff from your parents stuff that you did and they had no idea? How easy it is to do when you are an adult. If you can do that, being a kid and have almost no independence, how do you think adults can manage? Very, fairly easy. It's so easy. I don't think anyone has a problem. If people want to lie to you, they will. Okay? That's what happens. If a child wants to lie to you, they will. And they can succeed. If a teenager lies to you, he'll most likely succeed. And if an adult's lying to you, and this person that's doing the lying is not completely stupid, they'll get away with it because lying is easy. Okay? Maybe I'm sounding a little bit narcissistic right now, but it is. You can convince people of anything, especially if you're a good liar. If you're a shitty liar, maybe you can't, but if you're a good one, yeah, people will not be able or won't be able to tell if you're telling a lie or not. Especially if you have a good reputation. If you have a good reputation, people never doubt anything you say. And even if they do, it's gonna be for a second or two, and they're not gonna believe it. So maybe this guy, this boyfriend, was a very good boyfriend in one hand, and the other hand, he was a piece of shit. He was a pedophile. But you can't see this shit coming. You can't. Um, don't put yourself or the situation a pedestal. Don't think you could have prevented it. You couldn't. Okay? The guy wanted to lie to you for a good reason because obviously this is a hideous crime and he knows he's gonna get punished by it. Yeah, he's gonna be good at hiding it because he has probably been doing that for several years. It's not something that he woke up, as an adult said, "Oh, I'm a pedophile." No, this probably has been going on for a while. Okay, so again, she says, "How could I not have seen the signs? Have seen the signs?" Sorry, she actually writes really well. It's one of the best texts, grammatically speaking, that I've written, that I've read. Sorry, I teach English, by the way. Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyway, how do I explain this to my family and friends? How do I continue on with my life like nothing happened when I feel so shitty every single day? I don't know what to do. I don't know who to turn to, and I don't know how to stop feeling responsible. I can't help but think I'm the common denominator. Uh, how can this happen to one person twice in their lifetime with two different men? I'm confused and broken. How to explain this to future partners? I feel like damaged goods. Okay, this is actually pretty heavy stuff. Beyond any pay grade I could ever receive if I decided to finish college as a psychiatrist or a therapist and start doing that officially. This would be beyond my pay grade. This one is tough. Mm. Trying to put myself on her shoes. Okay, let's talk about something lighter, which is getting cheated on. Okay, if somebody cheated on you, you lose trust. not only you lose trust with that person, on that person, you lose trust generally, and it takes a while for you to start trusting people again, as many of you that have been cheated on know. And yeah, man or woman, whoever is listening, I think that if it happens twice, we start to see yourself as the common denominator. But you have to understand, you are not. You are not the center of the universe. Shitty things happen, and for a whole reason of probability, you know, of cause and effect that are way beyond your control, maybe you are a very fortunate person or unfortunate person. There is no reason for that whatsoever. Well, if you are religious, you probably think God, okay, is behind that. But anyway, I don't know. I really don't know. I think a lot of people feel this way. They feel responsible. And the reason for that, I believe, is that we think too much of ourselves. We think we are so important that things are bound to happen only to us. No, they're not, okay? It's very unfortunate that this happened to you, but it has nothing to do with you, and it has nothing to do with your future partners. And let me tell you something else. Don't do that to yourself, okay? This guy, as shitty as he did not abuse you, okay? And you said you were abused as a child, so there was another pedophile in your child. So you can probably write a book about pedophiles, with a very unfortunate but interesting perspective. But don't think that pedophiles are attracted to you, because if you are an adult woman, you're not attracting pedophiles. You just got unlucky, okay? Yeah, this sucks. This really does suck. I used to be a cute kid, I guess, and never had any problems with that, but I remember my parents being very afraid that it could happen, something could happen with me. Again, I think I was really cute. Nowadays I look like shit, but as a kid I looked fine, okay? And I was a fine piece of white small ass for pedophiles. And my parents always super protected me, and for several reasons that wasn't very good for my formation as a human being, but I'm alive and I owe them that, I suppose. I'm not saying that if they weren't super protective, something bad could have happened, but anyway, the possibility it's a game of possibility. Like just like before, we were talking about COVID and COVID cases, an increasing number of cases, increasing number of deaths. I believe that whenever you get, oh, actually, no, 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 let's not go back to that. Otherwise, I'm going to keep ranting here like a fucking idiot. But yeah, it's a game of possibility, okay? Just gonna talk this about COVID. If you go outside, you're taking a risk. So the more you go outside, the higher the risks. It's not that, oh, you go have fun with something, you're gonna get COVID. A lot of the friends that I talked about in the beginning that are all pro Bolsonaro, they were doing barbecues lately and asking me to join them, and I didn't. Not because I don't like them, but because of the fucking pandemic that we're dealing with. Of course, I'm not going to a goddamn barbecue in the middle of a pandemic. But to them, that makes no sense whatsoever. They see no reasoning behind my statements, and they think I'm talking rubbish. So I even was talking to the host of the barbecue yesterday, and he told me that oh, nobody got COVID from my barbecue. And I was like, okay, good, that's good. I'm not here rooting for my friends to get this hideous disease. Of course I'm not. I just don't want to put myself to take that risk. Now I'm young, I exercise a lot, and I like to think that I eat really well, and I eat a lot as well. But I have bronchitis, so I am at risk. If I get COVID, I could be in trouble. So I don't want to take any extra chances. I already have to go to the pharmacy. I already have to be in contact with people that bring me my groceries and my food. I already have to be in contact with enough people in the day-to-day basis. Thankfully, all my classes are online nowadays, so I am extra protected from giving classes online. but I still get exposed, and I really don't want to die for a stupid reason. And to me, going out of your house for no reason, so to me, going out for leisure is no reason. Of course, I miss going out, especially now that we are having this huge lockdown. I can't even work out on the beach. I have to do all my workouts here at my house, which is not as appealing to me as it is to go to the beach. But in any case, I'm handling myself, and it's a game of probability. And some people got unlucky right off the start, and some people got really lucky. Whereas you had people going to parties and bars and whatever and never got the disease. So yeah, you knowing two pedophiles close to you that took advantage of you twice in your life, and apparently you're pretty young, is just bad luck. I don't know what to call it, but it's not you. Okay, I know for sure it's not you. And sorry, she writes an edit. I have to explain why I feel like it's my fault. Okay, this is good. maybe I should, maybe I should have read this before everything else. I was videoed as a child doing sexually explicit things, and after I left my home, I managed to get those videos in my possession and held onto them for evidence when explaining what I had been through to my boyfriend. I, for the first time in my life, showed him one of these videos. It was years before he committed the crime, but in some twisted way, I feel that I fucked with his head and made him sick out of that content because of the video he saw of me. Alright. Okay, listen up. If you are a psychopath, a sociopath, a narcissist, a pedophile, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, all of these things are in your essence. And you can activate, it's like a gene that you activate based on some behavior. Maybe you did activate this shitty stuff in his head, but let me tell you, he always had it. If it wasn't for you, eventually he would see some shit that would make his head twist, and it would make him pursue these types of sexual content. So, even if it was you who triggered, this word is funny to me nowadays. Even if you were the reason for the triggering, I do not think you should blame yourself at all. Alright? I really don't. Because it's not your fault. It was on him all the time. And yeah, maybe maybe don't show yourself getting fucked. Maybe don't show yourself as a kid getting fucked to your future partner. Okay? You can maybe talk about this, but Jesus Christ, I cannot imagine any of my past girlfriends. I cannot imagine looking at a video of them uh, having sexual intercourse when they were a child. That's just fucked up. I don't know why you showed him that. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna read the top comments and then the answer from the original post, or original poster, sorry, from the OP. So here we go. The first comment says, "People who abuse others are the only ones responsible for their actions. It's not your fault. You can, though, go to therapy and learn how to better spot these kinds of people and create boundaries around yourself that makes this less likely to happen and to heal from what you've been through." Every state in the US had a sexual assault or domestic violence resource center, and all of them have hotlines you can call to talk to someone who has helped so many people like yourself. You are not alone, and there are resources available to you. This is pretty down to earth advice, pretty straightforward, good advice. I think this person has a good point. I'm still eager to believe that he has good points, both in the beginning and in the middle of what he says. He says, okay, it's not your fault, but maybe you can do something to prevent it. That's perfect. You know, for example, there are some neighborhoods here in Brazil that are dangerous. So maybe I don't go holding my phone on my hand whilst walking on those neighborhood in these neighborhoods, on those streets. You know, maybe I'll do myself a favor and help prevent something bad happening to myself. There was a discussion which still goes on, but not as hot nowadays, that if a woman gets abused, it's completely not her fault, and obviously that's true, but it's also true that she can do some things to prevent it. Okay? We know we have perverted men and women out there everywhere, everywhere. And if you look extra hot, I know it sucks that you cannot look like you want without repercussions, okay? But this is the world we live in. Obviously, I wanted to live in a utopia where you just do whatever, dress whatever, say whatever, and you can get through without any repercussions. But that world is not the one we live in. Obviously, you can help avoid, so that's pretty good advice. And then the person says, "Thank you. Yes, that is something I need to learn. I am in therapy now and working through it." Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good and pretty cool. So today's podcast is gonna be longer, as you guys probably noticed, because I've been only through one, and I actually want you guys. I want you guys here to read the next one. Apparently, it's a quicker one. It's very short, so I'm gonna keep it short to go throughout our usual two cases of relationship advice, because as you guys know, I fairly enjoy it. And here we go. The title is "My boyfriend didn't do anything when I passed out. Is it a red flag?" Hmm. Let's read it. "We were arguing for a couple of days. More like he was mad at me for being a shitty company." Jeez, okay. Young people here, apparently. "We were cleaning the beach, and as I moved around a lot, I fainted for the first time in my life." We were cleaning the beach, and as I moved around, okay, I fainted for the first time in my life. "I think it had to do with not eating enough when I'm stressed. Anyway, I was lying on the ground for about 5 minutes, according to him, and woke up hearing him say, 'What are you doing?' with quite an annoyed voice. I didn't take it seriously at that time, as I was processing the fact that I fainted. Is it a red flag? What did you do if you were in the same situation and if you were him?" Okay, well, let me tell you something. Get out of this relationship. I'm just gonna tell this right now. If he's mad at you for being a shitty company, you guys are cleaning the beach and you offended, and clearly didn't give a single fuck, just get out of the relationship, alright? What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing with this person? Tell me, please. Please, because it doesn't make sense. But, to answer your question honestly, of course it's a red flag. It means that either he doesn't give a fuck about you or he doesn't give a fuck about anyone. In both cases, you are out of the game. So should he. English is hard. Sorry. And so should he. All right. It is a red flag completely. And what would I do? Well, I was actually in that situation about 11 years. No, sorry, 9 years ago. Math is also hard. Um, it was around June, I guess, of 2012. I started going out with this girl from São Paulo, you know, and I was from São Paulo back then as well. I've been living in Santos only for a few years. And yeah, we were going out, and she told me that she would faint. Okay, it was just her thing, and it was weird because her brother would have seizures as well. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with them, but I didn't love her. Okay, I never did. We dated for a few months. Love never came about, and it was, reciprocated. But we did care about each other. We did go out a lot. We had some fun, and then it was over. And for the last time I checked, she got together with a boy a few months after we broke up. And for the last time I checked, she was still with this man. So, it was good that she got rid of me, because then she found someone that actually wanted something for the long run. Anyway, so she used to faint, and we were walking around late at night in São Paulo, in a pretty shitty neighborhood. I was drinking with her and some other friends. Yes, good times. And she fainted, not because of drinking, because she barely had anything to drink, but again because it was something she usually. She told me that it was something she does. She came to me. "How then I faint? It's something I do." I was like, all right. greatest story of all time. So anyway, we were walking around and she fainted and her face went flat on the ground. And I thought she was dead, honestly. For the way she fell, I thought, okay, she died. That was the first time she fainted in front of me. So I picked her up. I didn't exercise back then. I was taking a break from handball that I used to train a lot at school. So I didn't have much strength, but I got so concerned, and she was almost the same weight as me. So I picked her up, and I started calling for help. And then, as I was holding her and screaming, she woke up and she said, "Oh no, it's okay. It's just something I do." That's that's how I know. Or back then, that's how I found out that was just something she used to do. Anyway, and yeah, that was my reaction to a person that I was starting to go out with, whilst drunk, in the middle of the night, in a bad neighborhood, still not loving her, and I'm not a good person. So this to me tells a lot about your boyfriend, you know. Yeah, it's completely a red flag. So as I like to say, let's go. I'm going to read the first top comment, and let's go. You were unconscious for 5 minutes, and your boyfriend thought you were what? Playing dead? Big red flag. I understand not everyone responds the same in an emergency situation, but he got annoyed at you, the unconscious person, because no reason. I'd also like to add, even if he was mad at you or whatever, that should have gone out the window when you fainted. There is no excusing that behavior towards someone you're supposed to love. Yes, 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 yes. And also, yes, for the first, not the first thing. So he didn't say that, but the person after this first post, this first comment said this. Get checked out to find out if there's another reason you fainted. Get yourself a better boyfriend. Some people don't react well in a crisis, but not reacting at all is a completely different matter. Yes. So here you go. Even if my advice was very bad and stupid, listen to these people. They seem to know what they're talking about. And as you know, always take what I say with a grain of salt, be that relationship advice, gaming advice, political advice, book advice, whatever it is. Those are always and just my 2 cents.